Hi, my name is Octavio Barajas, and I'm a professor of ethnic studies at the College of Sequoias, co-founder of Kern County Educators for Ethnic Studies, a collective of K through 12 college and university educators dedicated to centering ethnic studies and the work that we do in the community, with the community, and in public education. I'm also the president of La Sociedad Juarez, which is a Mexican mutual aid society that is one of Bakersfield's oldest community organizations, having been founded over 110 years ago in 1910. And I have the distinct pleasure to welcome you to the third annual Jess Nieto Memorial Conference and to tell you how this conference got started. Jess passed away on September 21st, 2017, just 2 days before his 70th birthday. But shortly after, a beautiful reception celebrating Jess's life, where family and friends gathered to hear many of Jess's closest friends share deeply cherished memories, that Dr. Oliver Rosales and I spoke about taking the initial steps towards organizing the first Jess Nieto Memorial Conference. As a result, many students that Jess worked with in the early 1970s at Bakersfield College were contacted, among many other members of the Bakersfield community and even scholars from outside of Kern County, including Dr. Ralph and Brewster Sandoval, a Chicano Studies professor at UC Santa Barbara, who was a keynote speaker at the first Nieto Memorial Conference that took place in 2018. The second conference in 2009 took place in 2019, and due to COVID last year in 2020, the third conference was postponed until this year, 2021. Not only do I feel it's an honor to still be involved in the conference while no longer being employed at Bakersfield College, I also feel it's important for me to continue to recognize and to add to the legacy that Jess Nieto represents at Bakersfield College and his contributions to Bakersfield at large. There's not enough time for me to thoroughly recognize many of Jess Nieto's accomplishments with this brief welcoming statement, but it's important for me to at least recognize a few. Hopefully, I can present a more thorough account at a future conference. On the legacy of my friend, Jess Nieto, fortunately, due to this memorial conference, I believe many more are beginning to learn and maybe even relearn about Jess's role as a founder of Chicano Studies at Bakersfield College. I would like to add and briefly credit the students for what would result in the hiring of Jess Nieto. Students of history understand the importance of recognizing antecedents leading to culminating historic events. In this case, it's important to recognize the efforts of Chicano students that caught the attention of BC administration with their demands for a Chicano studies education in the early 1970s. As a result, Jess was hired by Bakersfield College president Bern Finlinson in the spring of 1971, who was really frank with Jess about not knowing what Chicano studies was, but he knew that this is something that the students want, and he charged Jess Nieto with developing it. And develop it he did. Jess Nieto taught the first Chicano studies course in the fall of 1971. And under Jess's leadership, Chicano studies course offerings grew from that one course in the fall of 1971 to 22 Chicano studies courses by the spring of 1974, which included federal funding for an international program. And Jess Nieto internationalized the curriculum with the study abroad program to Mexico. This project was called Project Mexica. In addition to academic instruction, the Chicano Cultural Center was established by the spring of 1972, and it offered culturally responsive student services. Next, I want to tell you how I met Jess Nieto, and this story connects to the Chicano Cultural Center. It is a story that ties to a very down-to-earth and highly supportive style of mentorship that I and so many benefited from Jess's genuine friendship. It was the summer of 1999 when I was the president of Bakersfield College, Mecha, that I received news about the closing of the Chicano Cultural Center, since Bakersfield College's administration at the time believed that the Chicano Cultural Center had outlived its purpose, despite BC Chicano student population doubling in numbers by the time of its inception. We began to organize to see how to make our concerns known to BC administration in the most effective manner. We believed that they were making a terrible decision to close the Chicano Cultural Center, was during this time that Jess Nieto's name made, was made known to us. And we invited him to meet us at the Holloway Gonzalez Library. And the rest is history that I hope to one day tell a fuller account. For those of you who may not know, the Holloway Gonzalez Library is located in Southeast Bakersfield and is named after Dr. Ruth Love and Dr. Raymond Gonzalez. These were two very prominent African-American women and Chicano raised here on the east of Bakersfield that contributed so much to our community. And it was a very significant story that we were relatively unaware. So when Jess Nieto walked into the Holloway Gonzalez Library, it became an on-the-spot lesson because Jess Nieto was actually a part of that story for the establishment of this public library in Southeast Bakersfield. And he was a student of Dr. Raymond Gonzalez as well, who we were able to recognize at our second annual conference in 2019. Jess began mentoring many of us, BC Metro students, welcoming us to work out of his Heritage of America's office, which was located just across the street from St. Francis Catholic Church. There we would coordinate public events and also have some very down-to-earth conversations and continue to learn about many, many of Jess's amazing experiences. He was a true educator and a true friend. Many of us were welcome to his home, and to mountain bike trips to Mount Pinos are some of my fondest memories. And these are memories that I cherish, and also a mentorship that I try to put to practice with students that I work with to this day. Jess was also a Chicano internationalist. I feel fortunate to have heard the stories with Cesar Chavez, working with educators in China, even carrying out peace missions in Central America sanctioned by the US government in the 1980s, and learning about the genre of music called Nueva Canción, featuring music artists such as Victor Jara, Inti Ilumani, folkloristas, Gerardo Tamés, who's this compadre of Jess, and so many other memories about BC Metro experiences during the Chicano movement. These memories are so important, and may they motivate the newer generation to create their own. I also want to plug in an important call to action made by California Community College Chancellor Oakley this past summer. A call to action addressing systemic racism in the California Community College system that also specifically calls for the redesign of curriculum that is centered in anti-racism, equity-focused, and is also culturally relevant. I want to highly encourage Bakersfield College to move forward with this call by reestablishing its commitment to Chicano studies and ethnic studies, to restore its position at being at the cutting edge of the field of ethnic studies. Hopefully, this conference will inspire and make clear the importance for Bakersfield College to make an institutional commitment to reestablish Chicano studies and also to expand with an ethnic studies program, and hopefully a department that can lead these academic efforts, as ethnic studies is the future of public education. With my last point, I would like to close with some of the lyrics of Victor Jara's song Manifiesto, which was part of the Nueva Canción genre that I just mentioned just a moment ago, which I was fortunate to hear my friend Jess Nieto tell on more than one occasion the importance of music in Latin American social movements. And I wish to share with you a bit now. It's a powerful song, and I encourage you to look it up and study it if you're unfamiliar. The lyric that I would like to bring to your attention reads, and I quote, "Canto que ha sido valiente, siempre será canto nueva." A song that is courageous will always be a new song. So listen, may your actions speak louder than your words, and may they possess a refreshing tone that Victor Jara indicates in his lyrics, that it is through acts of courage that songs have the capacity de siempre ser canto nuevo, to always be a new song. This point resonates tremendously with the character of my dear friend Jess Nieto, who always had the moral courage to speak truth to power. May such quality guide us all today in recognizing Chicana Chicano resilience, standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and denouncing violence against the Asian American community. Thank you so much for your attention. Next, you'll be viewing footage that were parts of a prior conference presentation about Jess Nieto by sociologist, CSUB professor, Dr. Gonzalo Santos. Enjoy the third annual Jess Nieto Memorial Conference and its amazing week-long program. Thank you so much for your attention.